Hello everyone, good morning. This is your reading for Monday, April 14th, 2025, of course. And let's see what's going on politically. Things are certainly heating up astrologically for the oligarchs and the tyrannical tyrants. Again, redundant. But I mean, we've got Uranus and Taurus like blowing up the trust in our economy. I just heard stop. And it's all just because of the batshit crazy brat in the White House. Okay. Well. So, when it comes to these cards all together, I would say with the Seven of Pentacles as the theme for the day, they're looking at what they're getting. Literally this is, oh God, reciprocal tariffs, remember that? Yeah, reciprocal. He learned a new word, I guess. Yeah. And what is it? 145% on China? Is that what it is? Well, I'm all for bringing everything back to the United States, but don't you think we should at least have some, manufacturing plants opened first? Right? Before you go doing that? And this is all what's going on in our dependency on China for things being a certain price and all of that. That's all because of what, the free market and capitalism did, and the rules and laws that were put in place by the Republican Party from way back when. So, and Democrats are probably guilty of that too. And all about, the balancing of the budget and all this other stuff. Well, if they weren't trying to give the oligarchs this big all these $1 trillion tax credits, then we wouldn't be in this place. They wouldn't be trying to steal from us to give to them. Now that's not what these cards are saying. That's just coming from my head. The cards are telling me that their return on investment is not good. And their people are saying, they're telling them we're all going to be broke. And they're really disappointed. They are being rejected over here because things are totally out of balance when it comes to relationships and the promises. And more and more Republican voters are like, we voted for lower taxes, not higher. I didn't vote to lose my pension or my Social Security or Medicaid for my mom or grandma or, you know what I mean, all that stuff. They're thinking they didn't vote for that, but they weren't reading Project 2025. So, as you sow, so shall you reap is part of this card here. But again, it's back to that, taking from the poor and giving to the rich. And people are waking up to that. So, yeah. They're not... The Three of Swords, they're like, how dare you betray me? This is also a card... So, the Three of Swords, it's a painful loss. It's a painful, separation from a relationship. There's grief. But there's also hatred with this card. There's also a whole lot of rejection. So they're going to pay the price for that. And it's not going to work well. I don't think it's going to work well for them at all. So, okay, let's look at the astrology. Now, the moon's in Scorpio this morning at 10 degrees already at 5 a.m. Because, yesterday was late degrees. Libra, and pretty much the whole day was, well, yeah, it was all day, Scorpio moon. So, like I was saying, things were intense, and then they're going to get more and more intense. And now the moon is at that last degree. Well, it's actually in the second decan of the sign, so it's in the, firk around and find out phase. And it's causing disruptions to all the plans that they made in the past that victimized and gaslit us, and we're not going for it. That's what these 3 sesquisquares are all about. So, yeah. Now, also, we have 2 inconjuncts coming off of the south node of the past, so all that information that was already out there about the past that are causing people high anxiety, and it's really triggering that with the Sun conjunct Eris. It's triggering people, and it's making them mad, especially women, because women with brains are thinking, why did all these young boys or young men that of voting age vote against women's bodily autonomy? Or if you're a dad who voted for Trump because you thought you were going to get lower tax, thought you were going to get tax breaks, but maybe you have, 3 or 4 or 5 or I don't know, maybe 1 daughter, and you voted against her bodily autonomy, that's not going to fly eventually. So there are these adjustments to what happened in the past, who's responsible, and Saturn and Pisces is all about who's responsible. And it's getting more and more and more intense as Saturn proceeds through the last degrees of Pisces. Who did the victimizing? Who's to blame? And what do we do now? So that's why we have all these, this whole Pisces pileup here with the trine to Mars and Cancer. You can bet families are fighting. You can bet they're discerning what's going on from the past, and then they're trying to figure out how they want to move forward in the future. So, yeah. So this aspect of the architect here, again, is, it's going to be lasting through, what did I say? Oh, yeah, June, well, no, actually, yeah, June 12th. June 12th for this leg over here. And then these will just kind of start dropping off as time goes by. But all the way through the 20th, Saturn is sextile. So, and it has been since the end of March. So there's that. Well, the 21st of March. So those, the lunar and solar eclipse, those were very powerful, and they're still in play. All of that is still in play because they last, for 6 months. It'll be the beginning of September, I think the 7th of September, when hold on, where's my, I have this little book here that has, there's the new and full moons, and then here's the eclipses. So the next lunar eclipse will be at 15 degrees of Pisces. And the solar eclipse will be, September 21st, will be 29 degrees. Ooh, that's an intense degree of Virgo. Yeah, because then it'll be close to this node here. The lunar eclipse will be close to the north node. So, yeah. That is this little book here, if anybody's interested. Okay, so, oops, there we go. What else? Yeah, so that's one aspect of the architect is building up to something, and what I've been saying what that something is. And then the other one is over here from Uranus that I talked a lot about yesterday. Uranus, the change agent of enlightenment. And again, opportunities to make those changes so that we're not gaslit anymore, so that we can make comparison values about who we share our finances with, where we spend our money, and how we create abundance from a whole new perspective. And again, it all harkens back to the facts of the past. It's like, okay, we can do math. So yeah, what else as far as like dates for things that are coming up? Well, we have to remember we're still in the Mercury retro shade, or like my friend Joyce put, no, it's retro shit. It's not retro shade. She put the little poop emoji. It's retro shit. So anyway, it'll be done April 26th. And then Venus is direct now. She's direct now here, but she'll be out of her retro shade on May 16th. So it's gonna take some time. You can see Mercury here it's at 28:54. Won't be long. It'll just be a little. I think, is it one more day before Mercury's in Aries? I think it might be tomorrow, which is intense. That'll be just like taken off from all of this victimization and going, the hell with this. It's kind of like, you woke up, smelled the cat box, and went, I'm out of here, man. Dealing with this. You don't clean your cat box. So, yeah. And this Mercury retrograde here has been sextiling Uranus. Now, it's moving out of orb. It's a waning orb, so it's not as strong. But it was exact on April 4th when, the shite kind of really started to hit the fan. And it was all building in the background, but, so from April 4th, it was exact on April 4th. But it's going to... It's moving out from Pisces to Aries, on when, oh, that's right. It's Venus. When Venus makes it to Aries, it'll be May 1st. So there's that's coming into Aries. Mercury will already be there, and Mercury and Venus will catch up and talk for a little while, because Mercury's all about giving messages, and Venus it's like over here powwowing with Saturn, and we're going to have messages about how the government abuse of the people, and immigration and immigrants, right? There's more. There's going to be a lot that comes out about that, because that's what all this Pisces energy is definitely about. Well, it has to do with FEMA and floods, and it has to do with, they fired so many people. They didn't totally close FEMA, but they fired so many people. And then victimization of immigrants. ICE coming in and just picking up people. So, but anyway... By the time, so what we can look forward to is Venus making it into Aries on May 1st, but it's going to hit up Neptune, so there's still this financial uncertainty. So that's, yeah, we really get to look forward to that. And then it won't be until basically July. Venus in July will make it to conjunct with Uranus. And Uranus will be another, probably a degree forward from there. So that'll be an interesting thing this summer. That could cause changes in what we do with our money. It could cause comparison values. Yeah. It's just going to intensify. When you put two planets together, it increases their power. So there could be shocks in the stock market. There could be, because Venus is, an earth well, rules one earth sign and one air sign, but there could be an earthquake, something like that. And I don't know where. We have earthquakes every day all over the world. It's just, whether or not it would be a big one. Venus may soften that, actually. So, because Uranus is not bad, it's contacts between Mercury and Uranus can bring through genius. It can be very, very enlightening of the mind. And Venus with Uranus can bring in, there's a possibility to bring in wealth, because Venus is about money and relationships. Could bring in some enlightening relationships where people are of like mind and very intelligent, or someone that you invent something with. And people who are more free thinking and friendly. So anyway, okay, that's pretty much that. As the moon moves forward during the day, these disruptions are, coming from the intensity of the people to people in, politicians, and communicating what they are really feeling, that is going to intensify. So Monday, maybe there's also a lot of changes. It's possible there are changes to plans. And I know there's protests scheduled for the 19th. I'm thinking maybe there could be some changes to those plans, or it just changes within the government. Disruptions to the government is really what I'm thinking, because of the connection over here to Saturn. Saturn, of course, rules the government. And Saturn is getting really, really tight. I mean, it's already conjunct the North Node. But because the nodes go backwards, the North Node's coming towards Saturn, Saturn's coming towards North Node. So it's going to get tighter and tighter. We'll have that, that tension. That's because we're headed towards compassion and inclusion and sensitivity and following our intuition and being in flow. But then we've got this government that is victimizing us, and it's just messing everything up. So that's where the power of the people today, I think, is going to be quite intense, honestly. So we'll see what happens. So, okay, well, that's all I have for today. And as always, take good care. Big hugs. I'll be back. Bye.